If you have a credit card that you don't use anymore and you're considering canceling it, don't do that. Just consider product changing it instead. So the first thing we need to cover is, what is a product change? Product changing a card basically just means that you want to go ahead and use the exact same card number and information and credit history with that one card you have, and then change it to a different product that earns you theoretically better rewards or just fits your overall strategy better. So in even shorter terms, you want to exchange your card that you're using now for a better one. Now, besides canceling a card, there's three main ways that you can actually change which card you have, but keep that credit history and everything intact. You can either downgrade the card, upgrade the card, or product change the card. Downgrading a card is a good method if you'd like to go ahead and take a card that you have with a high annual fee, for example, and either lower that annual fee or knock it out completely. So for example, let's say that you have the Chase Sapphire Reserve that has a $550 annual fee. You could downgrade that card to the Chase Sapphire Preferred that only has a $95 annual fee to save on that annual fee every year. On the other hand, if you wanted to upgrade your card, theoretically the card that you have now is not earning you exactly what you want, or you just want to have a higher tier card, so what you're going to do is product change that card into a better one. And one example of this is going to be the opposite of what I just mentioned. Let's say that you have the Chase Sapphire Preferred, on the other hand, with a $95 annual fee, and you want to upgrade that to the Chase Sapphire Reserve with a $550 annual fee because it comes with a lot of better benefits and some better earning rates as well. However, before you do that, I would actually not do this if you're going to be upgrading to a card that you've never had before, meaning that you haven't gotten the welcome bonus on it before, because whenever you product change cards, you lose out on the ability to get that new card's welcome bonus if you've never had it before. And product changing is a phrase that I've been using interchangeably here, but it's going to include both downgrading and upgrading cards, but also sometimes give you the ability to transfer from one family of cards to another within the same lender. So for example, let's say that you have the Chase Sapphire Preferred once again, and you want to actually lower that annual fee to $0. You could product change it to a Chase Freedom Flex, for example, which is not the same family as a Chase Sapphire Preferred, because the Chase Sapphire Preferred is a Sapphire branded card with Chase, and the Chase Freedom Flex is a Freedom branded card with Chase. But some lenders will let you product change between families, like Chase, for example. Now let's cover some reasons as to why you would actually want to product change your card. The first would be because you don't want to actually lose that credit history on your card, which would happen if you canceled it. This could be a really good method if you have a very old card that you never use anymore, but you don't want to actually cancel it, because if you did, that would hurt your credit score, as you'd be losing out on some credit history. So instead, you could actually product change that card into a better card that you might use every once in a while. Another reason you might want to product change is because you don't want to be paying these high annual fees that some cards come with. Like I mentioned earlier, for example, the Chase Sapphire Reserve has a $550 annual fee, but if you don't want to pay that every year and you're not getting positive value from that card, you could downgrade it or product change it to the Chase Sapphire Preferred or a Freedom branded card if you wanted to. Another reason would be because you don't want to add another hard inquiry to your credit report. Of course, when you go to apply for a new card, they're going to do a hard inquiry on your credit report, which will ding your score just a little bit. But whenever you product change a card, on the other hand, in general, they don't do any kind of pull, and if they do, it would be a soft pull, not a hard pull. Another big reason that you might want to start considering product changing some of your cards is if you want to get back in line to get a welcome bonus for a card you already have again in the future. So if you have a high tier card that came with a really big welcome bonus and you'd like to get back in line and do that thing again, you can downgrade that higher tier card to a lower tier card in order to effectively get yourself back in line to get another welcome bonus on that higher tier card. And if you want to see a full example of how to do this, I'm going to be talking about that later in the video, so stick around. Now that we know what a product change is and why you might want to do it, let's talk about what's going to happen to that account that you do product change. So generally what's going to happen is you're going to have the same credit card number, the same credit history, the same credit limit, and the same existing balance. And the main perk of product changing, as I mentioned previously, is that you're going to keep that credit history you have on that card. The things that will change are going to be the expiration date, sometimes the security code, and of course the physical card itself. As I mentioned earlier, sometimes you will have a soft inquiry put on your credit report, but you could always check with your lender first to make sure that that's going to happen, and then you can decide whether or not you want to do it after that. But I will say that soft inquiries are nothing to be worried about, so just go ahead and do it if you want a product change. And generally, the only time your credit card number would actually change is if you're product changing from a Visa card to a MasterCard or vice versa. So in general, if you're staying with the same credit card processor, then your card number is not going to change. But for example, if you wanted to change from the Chase Freedom Unlimited to the Chase Freedom Flex, that's going to be a Visa to a MasterCard switch, which will cause you to have to change your credit card number. And of course, they're going to do that for you, and they'll let you know beforehand, but just keep that in mind. Now switch over to some other things you should keep in mind if you're about to go through with the product change. First of all, if you do have a card with an annual fee that you're looking to product change, as long as you call within 30 days of that annual fee posting to your account, they should be able to reverse that for you. Or if you're product changing to a card with a different annual fee, it'll just switch to that. However, I have heard that if you've had the card for less than 2 years, then sometimes that annual fee won't be reversed. So just make sure that that's going to happen before you actually go through with it. Also keep in mind that a lot of lenders aren't going to let you product change within the first year of having the card. So if you do want to product change a card that you just got, just wait until month 13 and then go through with it. And also one of the biggest things is that if you are product changing to a card that you haven't had before and haven't got the welcome bonus on, then you're going to make yourself ineligible to get the sign up bonus since you're technically opening a new card. So just make sure that the card you're product changing to is one that you haven't gotten the welcome bonus on, or is one that doesn't come with a welcome bonus or something like that. That way you don't miss out on any points. Now for the rest of the video, let's go ahead and use Chase as the basis for our example, because they are one of the biggest lenders out there and they're someone that I have a lot of experience with, so I can tell you all about the full process of product changing with them. So what can you actually product change to within Chase? Basically, Chase allows you to product change between any of their cards that earn Chase Ultimate Rewards points. So for example, you can't take a co-branded card like the Hyatt card or a Southwest card and product change that into a Chase Freedom Flex because those cards don't earn in the same point systems. All of Chase's co-branded cards are going to earn points within that specific company's ecosystem, but Chase's Ultimate Rewards points earning cards are going to allow you to transfer those points out to different travel partners and get more flexibility with them, so they earn differently. Also, if the card that you're product changing is a personal card, then you're going to have to be changing it to another personal card, and the same on the business side. So how can you actually product change a card? The first thing you want to do is pick up that credit card, look at the back of it, and call the number that's on the back of the card. Then once you're connected to a representative, tell them what card you want to product change from and which one you want to product change to. And of course, they're going to go through the whole process of confirming your information, and then they're going to go ahead and dive into the disclosures. And I've actually recently gone through a product change with Chase myself, and I was able to write down most, if not all, of the disclosures that they gave me on the phone. So let's go ahead and go through those now. First of all, they say that when you product change your card, you are not eligible for a new bonus, and that you can only get bonuses through new credit card applications. They also tell you that the benefits of the new card are of course going to be different than the card that you had before, especially if you change from Visa to MasterCard or vice versa. They also tell you that any promotional balances that you had on that old card will be transferred to that new card under the old card's terms and conditions, and that will include points with Chase, but if you're doing it with another lender, just make sure that those points will transfer over because you don't want to lose out on those. They also say that if you have a flexible financing balance on your old card, that balance will transfer to the new card under the old card's terms and conditions. If you do have automatic payments tied to that old card number and your card number changes, then of course you're going to have to update that card information. They do tell you if any changes are made to this new account, they're going to email you or mail you the information so you know about it. Also, your card is going to be removed from digital wallets, so keep that in mind. They tell you that your old account will remain open for 60 days, just in case you do have issues with that transferring of automatic payments and stuff like that. And lastly, they said that I would get my card within 3 to 5 business days, which was true. Now let's go ahead and talk about my real life example in depth. The card I product changed from was my Chase Freedom Student card, and I product changed that to the Chase Freedom card, the OG Chase Freedom card. So why did I want to do this? Well, first of all, the Chase Freedom Student was my very first credit card back in 2020, but then I got the Chase Freedom Unlimited 8 months later, which basically nullified my Chase Freedom Student because the Chase Freedom Unlimited earned a lot better. The Chase Freedom Student only earns 1% back on all of your purchases, and the very base minimum that you'll get with the Chase Freedom Unlimited is 1.5%, making that card obsolete. And I've had that Chase Freedom Student in my sock drawer for about a year now, but thanks to a comment from RJ Financial, he actually recommended that I product change that Chase Freedom Student to an OG Chase Freedom card, and I have to admit, I hadn't even considered that yet, but it's a really good idea. The main reason it's such a good idea for me personally is because I don't even have the Chase Freedom Flex yet. I only have the Chase Freedom Unlimited and Chase Sapphire Preferred under Chase's ecosystem. So I've never even had access to Chase's 5% rotating quarterly categories, and especially since gas was one of the categories this quarter, I wanted to product change as soon as possible so I could use it for that. So of course, some of y'all may be wondering, why did you go with the OG Chase Freedom card rather than the Chase Freedom Flex? And the reason for this is because I haven't gotten the welcome bonus on the Chase Freedom Flex, and I didn't want to waste that opportunity to get those points. Because as I keep hammering home, if you product change to a new card that you've never had before and never gotten the welcome bonus on, then you're making yourself ineligible to get that. So of course I wanted to save that welcome bonus for later. However, don't freak out if you did actually product change to a card you've never had before, because even if I did product change to the Chase Freedom Flex, I would still be able to get that welcome bonus in 24 months per Chase's terms. Because as you can see here, this product is available to you if you do not have this card and have not received a new card member bonus for this card in the past 24 months. So technically, in 24 months, I would be eligible to get this card member bonus again as long as I don't have the Chase Freedom Flex in my wallet anymore. So what I could do is if I did product change to the Chase Freedom Flex, after 2 years of using it, I could downgrade it to an OG Chase Freedom and then reapply for the Chase Freedom Flex in order to get that new welcome bonus again. Also keep in mind that you have to be under Chase's 524 rule to be applying for new Chase cards, and that's always something that catches people up. So don't product change a card and start this whole process before you understand what status you're at with Chase. And technically you could keep doing this over and over, and that's why you see people on YouTube like Ben Hedges who has like 6 or 7 OG Chase Freedom cards because he keeps product changing to those in order to be re-eligible for sign-up bonuses in the future. And that 24-month rule applies to Chase's Freedom cards, but if you had a Chase Sapphire card, then you'd have to wait 48 months to do this process. One thing to note is that you can't actually apply for the OG Chase Freedom card anymore, but you can product change to it. And you can also have multiple of these cards. So if you have an old Chase credit card that you don't use anymore and you like free money, go ahead and make sure that you're under 524 with Chase and you've waited the 24 or 48 months in order to get back in line for that sign-up bonus, and then go ahead and downgrade your card to the OG Chase Freedom and reapply for one of the cards that you want instead to get that welcome bonus. Obviously, this is a cool little trick that you can use to start farming welcome bonuses on a smaller scale, and it's one way that you can earn extra Chase Ultimate Rewards points even on cards you don't use anymore. But if you want to learn how to earn a ton of Chase Ultimate Rewards points and travel the world for free by using a combination of Chase credit cards, go ahead and check out this video here next. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel if you enjoyed. I am right at about 1,000 subscribers, which is a really cool thing. So go ahead and make sure you're subscribed if you watched the video to this point, and I'll catch you guys next time.